Today, Brad Garlinghouse and the Ripple team are touring Washington, D.C., meeting with legislators and regulators. Many people are guessing that this implies the Ripple SEC lawsuit is over. I'd like to share my thoughts on this and tell you about an extremely interesting encounter that I know took place and could have ramifications for you. There are some extremely interesting photographs being posted in the Ripple SEC case, gentlemen. In this video, we want to go down Ripple's trip to DC, as well as show you a very fascinating film of Chris Larsen talking about why the top banks and financial organizations are going to embrace XRP in the future to give you a lot better picture. Because of how crucial XRP will be to our future financial system, make sure to stick around for that. You won't want to miss it like you always do. If you can help this channel, please do so. If you love these videos, please take a moment to like this one. Also, please subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me out a lot too. I hope you guys enjoy the content. I truly want to begin this video. I think this is an interview that doesn't get enough attention, and honestly, I don't think Chris Larsen gets enough attention from the XRP community in general. Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz usually dominate the news. However, Chris Larsen was one of the founders of XRP and Ripple. Therefore, I believe we must pay attention when he speaks because he has some very key thoughts on how transformative XRP will be for the entire banking system after listening to this clip. Let us break it down. 10 years after the financial crisis, we still lack the necessary infrastructure, perhaps to avoid the next one. And I believe this is where digital assets can come in handy because an efficient digital asset can tackle some of the fundamental concerns in global liquidity. You know, the world has trillions of dollars of liquidity merely to get around how clumsy it is. The flow of value around the world is possible with a highly efficient digital asset like XRP, which we believe will be the most efficient. You can now free up trillions of dollars that were previously locked up to make those transfers. As a bank or as a payment, it happens instantly. As mentioned by Chris Larsen, provider as an organization without needing to have money pre-positioned all around the world, so something incredibly interesting there. He said, 10 years after the financial crisis, we still don't have the technology to prevent the next one, so what's the point? What exactly is he referring to here, and how does he mean it? Does XRP have a significant impact on the equation? Something few people realize is that one of the primary reasons we have. I've watched several movies about 2008, and one of the most significant things stated in all the videos is one of the key causes for why we had the collapse were. Because money was moving so slowly, some people have even stated that if we could move money in real time, if we had some way to pause the system and rebalance all the payments that were owed to all these different players, we would not have seen the scale of the collapse that we saw. One of the biggest reasons why 2008 got as bad as it did was because, even though some massive institutions went under, we could have bailed out many of these banks immediately, but we lacked the financial resources to do so. That occurred, and we had the funds. Could have been used to prevent the default, could have been used to prevent these institutions from failing, but the problem was the rails. The difficulty was liquidity. We didn't have a method to get the money there instantly to keep these institutions from defaulting, and as a result, money moved so slowly. There was no way to stem the hemorrhage. We just kept bleeding as institutional money flowed in. Froze. There was money throughout the world to halt the bleeding. Institutions were still solvent to prevent the collapse. However, the money was moving at a glacial pace. Money was frozen as a result of the railways, and we have a big liquidity crisis in the present financial system because the technology employed to underpin liquidity in our existing financial system is obsolete and dysfunctional. Larsen is stating that XRP is a digital asset that might transform the fact that XRP allows immediate payments to transfers of highly liquid wealth, which would have been tremendously useful and important in preventing the financial crisis. XRP is a transformative asset in our future financial system because it brings a degree of technological sophistication not currently seen in the system. There is no other technology out there that permits value to be moved instantly. For fractions of a second, we can communicate with people all across the world, and that technology will be vital as we enter the next generation. Monetary system Chris Larsen's breakdown piqued my interest. There was something pretty interesting there. It truly lets you know what's next door. P isn't just some new, novel tool that will be disrupted by something else. What XRP is a fundamental game changer for our financial system, and this is why I know that as we advance these systems and our infrastructure becomes more sophisticated, the world's largest institutions will have no choice but to adopt an asset like XRP on some level. Now, I'm not sure whether it'll be XRP or another digital asset. That is open to speculation, but it is clear to me that Ripple is right next to all of the world's major firms right now, and XRP will be pushed right in front of their eyes. Just look at this. I thought it was lovely. Interesting. This is actually from Volante, and they're simply discussing which rails will dominate our future financial system. Swift GPI Swift is what we see. Visa, please. B2B Visa, Direct MasterCard, Send, and Ripple are all options. Ripple is constantly next to the largest payment services in the entire world. XRP is a digital asset that underpins the entire Ripple ecosystem, which is why these institutions are looking for new ways to instantly send liquidity, instantly send value all around the world. XRP is going to be the premier choice. Ripple is positioning XRP. Just a great clip of Chris Larsen here, and I think it makes it very interesting. Discussion about how essential XRP will be in the future, and I'd like to end this video with the talk of the day, Brad Garlinghouse, and the White House Ripple team. Earlier today, they stated right here that they were meeting with Congress to discuss global policy and how they can create regulatory clarity for the cryptocurrency industry. This is all very important information, but people are speculating on whether or not the Rep SEC cases have been done to me. I do not believe this means the matter is over. I saw Brad Garlinghouse earlier. Today, I posted a picture noting that I had to take a picture in front of the Sex building while in town, in case you're wondering why no chairperson invited us in. This makes it more appealing. It appears that the Ripple team is still not in good standing with the SEC if Gary Gensler does not invite him. They've come in and they're taking this picture. To me, this does not signal that the case is done, but rather what did happen, which was interesting. Is Stuart Alderati tweeting that he was meeting with the Supreme Court, which is considerably more interesting because the end goal for Ripple is ultimately the Supreme Court. In the worst case scenario, the SEC case is now on its way to the Supreme Court. I'm not saying this is the worst case scenario in terms of Ripple and XRP suffering. I think it would be very good, and I'll explain why in a moment, but the reason it would be bad is that it would take a long time. But the fact that Eldorado and Brad Garlinghouse are meeting with the Supreme Court is extremely interesting because it means that if we do, Brad go to the Supreme Court. Garlinghouse and Stuart Eldorado have already begun to grease the wheels. They're already addressing the Supreme Court, saying, "Oh, this is Ripple. This is the symbol for XRP. We specialize in this. This is the case. Did you notice how out of line the SEC is? What happened in our case at the district level, blah, blah, blah. They're only pretending to be the professionals that they are. The SEC is attempting to portray these individuals as scammers who are attempting to deceive people who are detrimental to the business, even though they are two of the most professional individuals and Ripple is the most professional player. They're making it obvious to the Supreme Court, which I think is just fantastic and demonstrates that Ripple is always 100 steps ahead. As the SEC struggles to put together a valid statement, Ripple is already meeting the end game. They're going to meet with the Supreme Court. The situation was a worst-case scenario. This matter will be resolved. Ripple is lubricating the gears. Ripple is displaying, hey, whatever the SEC says about us is entirely false. So in the end, I thought this was intriguing. Maybe the most important thing I witnessed on this entire DC trip, yes. Ripple will, of course, attempt to communicate. Concerning this, the SEC has lost 6 of their previous 7 Supreme Court cases, and it appears like Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Eldorado wouldn't mind handing the SEC another defeat in the most important court in the United States, people. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, please remember that like and subscribe do matter a lot, and for the time being, make provision.